The unsung women of Norse mythology. Norse mythology is dominated by tales of mighty gods, warriors, and epic battles. Odin, the All-Father, is widely revered as the chief of the Aesir, the god of wisdom, war, and death, ruling over Valhalla, the grand hall of fallen warriors. Yet, beneath the thunder of battle and the echoes of the halls of Asgard, there lies a forgotten narrative, that of the goddesses and female figures whose stories have been overlooked, downplayed, or erased by time. These women were not just consorts, mothers, or muses. They were warriors, seers, and powerful beings in their own right, some even equal to Odin himself. Their influence extended far beyond the roles traditionally assigned to women in a patriarchal society, shaping the fates of gods and men alike. Frigg, the overlooked queen of the Aesir. Frigg, Odin's wife and queen of Asgard, is often portrayed as a passive and domestic goddess, a figurehead of marriage and motherhood. Yet, in the earliest traditions, she was seen as a goddess of immense wisdom and foresight. She alone knew the fates of all beings, but chose to remain silent, a wisdom akin to, if not surpassing, Odin's. Despite this, her influence was gradually diminished over time. While Odin gathered warriors for Ragnarok in Valhalla, Frigg's role was softened to that of a grieving mother, mourning the loss of her son, Balder. In a pantheon that valued battle and conquest, her intelligence and foresight were often overshadowed, reducing her to a background figure in the grand saga of the Norse gods. However, in certain surviving texts, there are indications that she may have wielded even greater power than is commonly acknowledged. Freya, a goddess denied her glory. Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, war, and magic, was one of the most powerful and revered figures in Norse mythology. She was a Vanir goddess who came to reside among the Aesir after a truce between the two divine factions. While Odin reigned over Valhalla, Freya ruled over Folkvanga, her own hall where half of the slain warriors would go. Unlike Odin, who was often associated with brutal conquest and deception, Freya's power lay in her mastery of Cedar, an ancient form of Norse magic that could alter fate itself. Despite her power, Freya was frequently depicted in later retellings as a figure of lust and seduction, her role as a warrior and a leader overshadowed by her association with beauty and romance. Even the Norse concept of an afterlife focused primarily on Odin's domain, disregarding the existence of Freya's hall, which was equally glorious and significant. Her contributions to Norse mythology were often minimized in favor of Odin's more masculine and war-driven narrative. Yet, archaeological evidence and old inscriptions suggest her worship was widespread and deeply revered, indicating that her role may have been far greater than what later retellings allowed. The Valkyries, warriors without recognition. The Valkyries are among the most famous female figures in Norse mythology, yet their role has been largely romanticized and diminished. These shield maidens of Odin were not just celestial messengers, they were fierce warriors who chose which fallen fighters were worthy of entering Valhalla. In earlier myths, some Valkyries were also seen as independent warrior women, taking to the battlefield themselves. Their names, often linked to battle, suggest a heritage of power and autonomy that was later stripped from them in favor of a softer, more servile image. However, as Christianity spread across the Nordic regions, the Valkyries were gradually transformed into more ethereal and subservient beings. Once fearsome warriors, they became more like divine handmaidens, welcoming fallen heroes with gentle embraces rather than riding into battle alongside them. This shift in their portrayal reflected a broader pattern of erasing powerful female figures from mythology. Yet, their legacy lives on in sagas and historical accounts that hint at their original strength and purpose. Skaði, the giantess who defied the gods. Skaði, the frost giantess and goddess of winter and hunting, is another woman whose story is often overlooked. Unlike many female figures in mythology who were married off or subdued, Skaði was a force to be reckoned with. When her father, the giant Thjazi, was killed by the gods, she stormed Asgard demanding justice. She was granted a husband, Njord, a sea god, but ultimately left him, choosing to live on her own terms in the mountains where she thrived as a huntress. Skaði represents the untamed power of nature and female independence. Unlike many other goddesses who were absorbed into the Aesir's patriarchal structure, she remained on the fringes, her strength intact, but her legend often diminished in favor of male gods. Her legacy as a fierce and independent deity remains a testament to the resilience of women in myth. Hel, the forgotten ruler of the underworld. Hel, the ruler of the Norse underworld, is perhaps the most underappreciated female figure in mythology. She was the daughter of Loki and was cast into the underworld by Odin himself, given dominion over those who did not die in battle. While Valhalla was celebrated as a paradise for warriors, Hel's realm was often depicted as a place of gloom and despair. Yet, there is no evidence in original myths that Hel was cruel or unjust. In fact, she was a sovereign ruler, overseeing the dead with fairness. Over time, her image was corrupted by Christian influences, turning her into a more demonic figure associated with suffering and punishment. Unlike Odin, who was honored for his rule over Valhalla, Hel was demonized for governing her own realm, a stark contrast to how male and female rulers were perceived. Yet, in pre-Christian sources, Hel was respected as a necessary force, a ruler who maintained order over the souls entrusted to her. The erasure of Odin's women. The stories of these powerful goddesses and female figures were gradually erased, reinterpreted, or altered over time. As patriarchal societies took hold and Christianity spread through the Norse world, the warrior women and wise goddesses of old were reduced to secondary figures, their strengths downplayed or transformed into something more palatable to a male-dominated worldview. Odin's women were never meant to be silent figures in the background of Valhalla's feasts. They were warriors, rulers, sorceresses, and visionaries. They shaped the fate of gods and men alike. Yet history, in its selective storytelling, often chooses to highlight Odin's conquests rather than the women who stood beside or even against him. A legacy reclaimed. Today, scholars and enthusiasts of Norse mythology are beginning to reclaim the lost stories of these goddesses and heroines. Through historical texts, archaeological discoveries, and renewed interest in pre-Christian belief systems, the voices of Odin's women are being heard once more. They may have been ignored, forgotten, and denied Valhalla, but their power endures in the legends that still whisper through the annals of time. Their strength, wisdom, and defiance continue to inspire those who seek to uncover the hidden truths of mythology, ensuring that their legacy is never lost again.